Okay, so today for pre-algebra skills, we will be doing solving two-step equations. So here's a little bit of an intro, solving two-step equations. We're going to use the same method of solving the equations as we did in one-step equations. We're still going to use opposite operations, and our goal is still to get the variable alone on one side of the equation and determine what the value of the given variable is. So there's not a whole lot of difference between one-step equations and two-step equations. We're basically just adding one more step. So our first practice problem here, solve for x. We need to remember we are trying to get x alone on one side of the equation. So when we do that, it's always a good idea to draw a line down the equal sign, because that's going to separate our equation into two parts. And now our goal is to get x alone on the left side. So our problem says 2x plus 2 equals 12. So what we need to do is get x alone. So 2x plus 2. I'm going to first try to isolate this x. So I'm going to do the opposite of plus 2, which is minus 2. So I'll subtract 2 from both sides. And now we are left with, change my color, 2x, because positive 2 and negative 2 cancel each other out. So we're left with 2x equals 12 minus 2. 12 minus 2 is 10. So now our equation is 2x equals 10. X is not alone on one side of the equation. We still have a 2 attached to it. So 2x equals 10. That's also 2 multiplied by x. So how are we going to reverse multiply by x? We are going to divide by 2. So for multiplying by 2, dividing by 2 will cancel that out. And then we are left with x alone on this side, which is our goal. We're trying to get x alone. So x equals 10 divided by 2. What is 10 divided by 2? 5. So that is how we solve our two-step equations. I kind of separated the colors out here for you guys. So the first thing we're doing is we're trying to get the 2x by itself. So we minus 2 to cancel that out. And we do it to both sides to get 2x equals 10. Then we divide it by 2 to get x alone. We do that to our right-hand side also. So 10 divided by 2 was 5. So x would equal 5. Erase that really quick. Now our next practice problem. We're going to start off by drawing the line down the equal sign again to separate them into two halves. Now we need to try and get x alone on one side of the equation. Our equation says 15 minus 3x equals negative 6. So let's take a look at this 15 minus 3x. Our goal is to get this x alone. So how are we going to do that? Well, first of all, I see this is a positive 15. Positive 15 minus 3x. Knowing that this is positive 15, I'm going to do the opposite of that, which would be minus 15. Because when we subtract, we're going to subtract from both sides. And when you subtract 15 from 15, those cancel each other out. So then we are left with just this, negative 3x equals negative 6 minus 15. When we subtract those, we're going to get negative 21. Now we're left with negative 3x equals negative 21. Negative 3 times x, the opposite of that would be to divide by negative 3. So we're going to divide both sides of the equation by -3. Those cancel each other out. -3 divided by -3 cancel each other out. Then we're left with just x equals -21 divided by -3. Or in other words, how many times does -3 go into -21? It would be 7 times. So x would equal 7. So as you can see, we're still doing the same thing as we did with one-step equations, except for we have one more step added to it. So you got to try and get x alone on one side of the equation. Ooh, now we have a different type of problem that is going to use multiplication and division. We're still trying to get x alone. We'll always start by drawing our line down our equal sign to separate the equation out. What this on the left-hand side says is x plus 6 divided by -3. What I want us to do is I want us to think of this as a fraction. And we don't like fractions in two-step equations. So what we are going to do is we are going to try and figure out how to get rid of this fraction, x plus 6 over -3, or divided by -3. So if it's x plus 6 divided by -3, the opposite of dividing by -3 would to multiply by -3. So we are going to multiply both sides by -3. And those will cancel each other out. And now we got rid of our fraction, because all we have left on this side is x plus 6 equals, we need to solve this still, 4 times -3. 4 times -3 is -12. Well, we're not quite done yet. X is not alone on one side of the equation. Now we have x plus 6 equals -12. How are we going to undo that plus 6? That's a bad 6, I'm sorry. We will undo the plus 6 by subtracting 6 from both sides. And when we subtract 6 from both sides, those cancel each other out, and we're left with just x equals -12 minus 6. -12 minus 6 is -18. X would equal -18. So we started this problem by undoing the division with multiplication, and then we have x plus 6 left. So when we see problems that have this division bar, or it kind of looks like a fraction, our goal is going to be to first try and undo that division or fraction. We do that by using the opposites, and the opposite of division is multiplication. So that's why we multiplied -3 by both sides. And our last practice problem for the day is x plus 24 divided by 2 equals 13. So knowing that this is x plus 24 divided by 2, how are we going to undo that divided by 2? We will undo it by multiplying by 2. So we're going to multiply both sides by 2, because what we do to one side, we have to do to the other. And now these will cancel each other out. And then we're left with x plus 24 equals 13 times 2. X plus 24 equals 26. Are we done with our equation? No, we are not, because x is not alone on one side of the equation yet. we still have this plus 24 attached to the x. How would I undo plus 24? We would undo plus 24 by subtracting 24. What we do to that side, we have to do to the other. Positive 24 minus 24 cancel each other out. We're left with just x. X equals 26 minus 24. 26 minus 24 is 2. So x would equal 2. So when it comes time for your homework, what you will do is you will copy down each of the problems on a piece of scratch paper, work through them, and once you find the value of x, you will type it in the box over here. So let's erase this really quick. So this is what your guys' homework will look like. It is the same stuff I just went over with you. It's the two-step equations. And I'll get us started on this one. We're going to start by drawing our line down our equal sign. And now we're left with 2x plus 10 equals 20. So we need to undo and get x by itself. So if you guys have any questions on how to solve two-step equations, please send me an email and I will set up a Google Meet with us and we can work through it together. So please let me know if you are having troubles understanding the content, because otherwise I don't know if you guys are having troubles or not.